Hey, what's going on? My name is Maoli Vodi with Financially Present, your one-stop shop for financial and investment education. And today we're just going to break down one of the best examples I have of market indexes. We know these indexes are talked about all the time when we refer to the stock market, but what do they actually mean? What's a quick way to absorb the information in a visual way? So here's an example that you can use when explaining it to a friend or teaching a youngster in your life. Okay, so let's suppose I create a school. This is an elite school with the best and brightest students in the entire world. Okay, this school, this university, I want a certain amount of kids to represent the entire school. So I'm going to look at 30 specific students that they're the best at what they do, and they, at a broad level, represent the school in a very great light. So I'm going to select those 30 students, and these are my 30. Great students, right? But I'm going to call them the Dow Jones Industrial Average. They're a great selection of students. Unfortunately, they don't represent the entire school. This is not a very accurate representation. I have thousands and thousands of students. So let me think of a different way to represent our school. And maybe I can find students that represent our most popular program, our science and tech program. So I'm going to select maybe one student from this group, one student from the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and I'm going to select about 99 other students. Okay. And these students, we like the science and tech program mainly because it helps the school get funding. And we're going to call these students the Nasdaq index, or Nasdaq 100. This is a great program, and again, we get most of our funding because of the science and tech. But the more I think about it, this school is not necessarily the best representation if we're only focusing on these 100 students. So I need a broader selection of students. Again, we have thousands of students, so I'm going to go ahead and say, well, let me take a few students from our Dow Jones Industrial Average and a few students from our Nasdaq. I'm going to select about 400 additional students. Yep. We're going to call these students the S&P 500. A collection of 500 students. These students are the best and brightest. They're in different areas, whether it's philosophy, psychology, art, science, math, everything. And these students will be the best representation because it covers the biggest area. These students will be the best representation because it covers all of the necessary areas of the school. It doesn't ignore the rest of the school per se. These students are just simply the leaders of those specific areas. In summary, we have the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that's 30 students. They are a good representation, but not the best representation. We have the Nasdaq 100. This representation is great, but it's mainly focused in our science and tech departments, so it's still not representing the entire school. So we want to include some of our students that are in the Dow Jones Industrial Average Index, and then some of the students in our Nasdaq 100 Index, and then we're going to add the additional students that are a better representation of the entire school across all of the areas. And we have our S&P 500. So now, anytime you think of these major indexes, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, I want you to think about this elite school and think of it from this perspective as well. Owning that grouping of students in that specific index means you're also getting the performance of those students, the work that they produce, and anything that grows from those students' performance. That's what it means to own an index, or to own the investments within that index. Having ownership of the student's productivity gives you the growth of that student. But that's an example here. What are some examples you can think of? I'd love to see in the comments. I have a whole bunch of other ideas, but I liked this one just for visual purposes. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the page, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss out on future content. And until next time, stay present.